Hello, YouTube. Welcome to my channel, Marriage, Politics, and Sports. And I'm sitting here burning some midnight oil. Just thought I'd put out a real quick post. Just saw a clip of another articulate black man talking about why we need to continue the pressure to get off the Democrat plantation. I never saw the brother before, but I'm very encouraged that more and more black men are standing up, standing on their square. Doesn't matter about the shaming and all that horse shit that's coming from the Democratic Party, celebrities, black women, anybody, who are against us standing on our own independent square, saying we know what's best for us and in the future what's best for whatever is left for the black community. It's pretty much, it's not much. So anyhow, but regardless of that, if we want to reclaim any chance of a resurgence in the black community from the bottom up, we got to break the demonic hold of the Democratic Party. We got to get off the plantation. There's no way we can ever get our respect staying on the plantation with the rest of the, Django Calvinites, those celebrities that have sold us out long, long time ago. So anyway, I'm gonna play the clip of that guy. And just a couple of things. Monday, I'm going to have a show on the Black Man Unfiltered Network, and that's going to be titled, The Fall of America, American Rights and Freedoms, based on the censorship coming from the Democratic Party, based on the destruction of Title IX, and based on a few other things. So I got a few clips I'm going to play then. So, this is political season, so the name of my channel has been Marriage, Politics, and Sports. And I talk about all of those things. There's an intersection between them all from time to time. So it's political season. So most of my content is going to have some political underpinnings. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Leave some comments, and we could debate back and forth. You don't have to agree with me, but I'm going to move forward anyway. And, it doesn't matter whether it was Donald Trump or Kamala Harris. The main thing for black men is that we break that demonic hold that the Democrats have on the black community and the black vote. And it doesn't have to go down to zero. It just got to go down to where they're going to have to do more for our votes in the future. I mean, before they get it, not some last minute bullshit that Kamala Harris just put out. And so this brother articulates that well too. So stay tuned. I'm going to share it with you right now. All right, stay tuned.
She performed in that interview.
I believe that interview was a masterclass in why there is a statistically significant amount of black men who are tired of listening to the media and done entertaining the Democratic Party. You listen to Kamala Harris talk about a plan for Black America. They've rolled out a plan for Black America. My grandfather told me a very long time ago, never trust a man who promises to do tomorrow what they had the power to do yesterday. If Kamala Harris was so committed to these plans for black men in particular, she's had many instances where she could have done these things as a senator, as an attorney general, and certainly in her capacity as a vice president. So I do believe that when you have that type of interview, talking about a multi-trillion-dollar plan for reparations, all while we ignore the fact that California has already studied reparations, only for the Democrats that said they were committed to passing it, to saying everyone actually going to write the check. Black men are tired of what appears to be empty promises coming from a Democratic Party.
I mean, Joe, if you're honest with yourself, I'm sure there's some times where you would appreciate if your candidate would be more quote unquote scripted.
Look, I think there's a few things happening here, right? I've said it many times on this network. Vice President Kamala Harris, she wants to have her Kate and Edith too. She wants to have all the good things that come from the Biden administration. She wants to leave all the bags of the Biden administration behind her. I think if you're just looking at the core issues pertaining to the black community, the civil rights issue of our time is education. Democrats have nominated a woman who is against school choice. They have a vice presidential candidate who is against school choice. And you have the gatekeeper for a large voter bloc that didn't ask any real questions about the civil rights issue of our time. To say that we have have schools where 80% of Black children cannot read at proficient levels all across this country. And so it is a scourge that is preventing Black men from getting the tools they need in their young life to move forward. And I think if there are a lot of Black people who are saying Democrats have told us that Donald Trump is terrible, but I'm not going to allow my vote to be taken hostage by a party that continues to not deliver results every time I place my trust in their hands.
He did have a record low for Black
Yeah,
unemployment.
I would just simply say that to that point, right? I think we have to dispense with some of the talking points here. Certainly, there is a fair way to interpret it and to interpret facts, irrespective of whether you're a Republican or a Democrat. The fact remains, pre-COVID, we had 7 million new jobs created. We had record low unemployment for Black Americans. And I think even if you move beyond, all the conjecture, when you look at what Black men are really moved by, they're moved by the fact that the Democratic Party is not actually treating them fairly. That you had the only Black Republican man in the Senate who ran for president being called the equivalent of a slave that Harriet Tubman should have left behind. And no one lost their job and not a single person was fired. And so I appreciate that Sherwin says that it's good to live in America where Black men can voice their opinion independent of somebody telling them how to do so. But it is quite clear that from many people on the cable news that they have been given license to talk crazy and out of their neck about Black men who are not interested in voting for Kamala Harris. And I think, unfortunately, for not just the Democratic Party, but America, those chickens might come home to roost on November 4th.
All right, Joe, you.
Let me stop her. We'll stop. I thought that was poignant. I thought that was straight to the point. I think that we need to have more and more articulate Black men speak up about the scourge of the Democratic Party on our psyche, that we're just on another plantation, one that used to be shackles, one that used to be beatings, one that used to be lynchings, and now we're still on the plantation, but it's a mental plantation that's harder to break, and it's only harder to break if men keep falling for the banana in the tailpipe. We have to stand up ourselves. Doesn't matter what the women say. Doesn't matter what those Django Calvinite celebrities say. It doesn't matter what anybody says. What's going on is wrong. It's demonic. And it has to stop. Our communities are in a shambles. We have just big baby mamaisms. Nobody wants to get married. It's a bad deal for men. We got to get rid of no-fault divorce. We got to do all kinds of things. If Kamala was really serious, she would have offered up to Black men and men in general a revamping of the child support system, marriage system, get rid of no-fault divorce, paternity testing mandatory, the whole 9 yards. Those are the kind of things that bring families back together. And right now, there's none of that's on the plank. She's for transgender, taxpayer-funded transgender surgery. She's for taking away kids' rights, parents' rights to determine the outcome for the children in schools. She's for taxing unrealized gains. She's for unfettered immigration. And then the real plan is to put and to bust all of these millions of illegal aliens in the red states so they could change those states blue and try to have a supermajority across the country as they have in California. We can't let that happen. Anyway, so listen, it's a good season. November 5th, it could be over or it could be just beginning, and we'll see, right? And one way or the other, we got to survive it all. And but the nation needs to have a new way of moving, and the Democratic Party is not it. Our pain, marriage, politics, and sports. Over and out.